Welcome to your session on the neuroscience of change. Today, you learn about our ego and 5 ways your ego may hold you back. And if you're watching this, that means that I'm supporting you on your journey to navigate change in your life. And at some point, you consciously made a conscious decision to leave the old way of being, break a certain pattern, certain way of being, of thinking, of living life, to embark on a journey of achieving a new goal and stepping into your new identity. So you are navigating between 2 worlds. The one you know because you lived in this reality for quite some time. Maybe you operated in relationship or business in a certain way. Maybe you are looking to release the past, to heal some trauma, to reprogram some cultural programs or limiting beliefs that no longer serve you and no longer support you on your path to going where you're heading. And so you are looking to bridge the gap between what you've known so far and that you're stepping into, the new reality. And with the new reality, new lifestyle, new way of living, there's new you, new embodiment, new identity. And this is what you're navigating. So as you're navigating that, you must know what role your ego will play in possibly holding you back from getting there. And when I say your ego, I don't mean you. That's why we have a word called ego, because ego represents our sense of self, but it's not our self. So our true self, your true self, is what I will often refer to as your higher self. And that's your higher self decided to either leave that relationship that doesn't serve you, make that career change, or up level in your life and business, or simply release something that no longer serves you in life. But you know, our ego is resistant to change. And why? Because it seeks security, it seeks comfort, it seeks validation from the familiar, and the change certainly challenges that. And so in this session, you will learn to recognize your ego's attempts to hold you back, to keep you in your comfort zone, and you will learn how to navigate your ego's resistance to change. Are you ready? So there are 5 reasons your ego will typically show up. The first one is the fear of unknown. Change often brings uncertainty and familiarity, which can trigger fear in our ego. And so your highest self is never afraid. Your highest self knows its full potential, its infinite possibility to create the life of your dreams. And you are always whole and complete. You were born this way. You were born with infinite potential and capability to harness the powers of your mind. And it's your ego that creates that separation for who you truly are. So our ego likes to feel in control and secure in familiar patterns and routines. And so when faced with change, it may resist in order to maintain a sense of stability. And therefore, change is the biggest shock to the system when it comes to your ego. So whenever you decide to embark on a journey like you did, it is to be expected that the fear of the unknown will show up. In fact, psychology tells us that we typically experience what it's called loss aversion bias. And oftentimes, people are more attached to that reality that they know, regardless if it serves them or not, because at least that is something familiar and they are more likely to protect what they have than actually take steps towards something that may be much better for them in the long run, but something unknown that is unsure. So be on the lookout for that loss aversion bias. Now, second reason why your ego may show up is the attachment to identity. And once again, I mentioned your old identity, which is your old way of being. And there's nothing right or wrong with that. But if you're here today listening to this audio, then that means that you made a conscious decision to move in a different direction. And I'm here to honor that burning desire for change. And you know what's at stake. We've already gone through the analysis of what it's costing you to be where you are today. And you've decided with your free will that the foreseeable future, if you stay where you are, is not in alignment with where you can be, where you want to be, and where you're destined to be. And so our ego is closely tied to that self-identity and the roles we play in our lives. So change can challenge not only our existing identity, but it can also force us to confront aspects of ourselves that we may not be ready to let go of. And oftentimes the attachment to your current identity can make you resistant to change, as it may require you to let go of familiar labels or ways of being. So I just want you to be aware of that. That first of all, you're not your identity, you're not your ego. Your highest self is that sense of yourself with that deep desire and deep knowing that there is a different future for you, the one that is more aligned with your soul's essence, with your self-expression, with your heart's desire. And if you choose consciously to move in that direction, your ego will show up. And then you'll have another choice to make. Will you give in into that ego and please it and stay in that comfort zone and uphold the status quo? Or will you take that brave step and surrender to that next step on the journey of becoming this higher version of yourself? So the third reason ego might show up is comfort in the familiar. So our ego seeks comfort in that what it knows, and change often involves stepping out of that comfort zone. And so it can require us to face new challenges, certainly take risks, and avoid and actually confront our fears. So our ego may resist change to avoid discomfort and maintain that status quo. Just by sheer decision to show up to this session, to engage with me in a coaching program, you already are rocking the boat, and the ego is feeling threatened. And so before you decided to hire me as your coach, I bet the ego was really showing up a lot, and you probably had this internal dialogue with yourself. And so the next one is fear of judgment. And again, our ego wants to be perfect, wants to look good, wants to excel, wants to be successful, wants to keep up the appearances. So change can sometimes involve stepping into the unknown and taking risk, which may open us to judgment from others. Our ego may very well resist change to avoid potential criticism and negative feedback, as it seeks approval and validation from others. So now you have a choice to make. Are you here to please others? Are you here to play small in life? Or are you here to play all out and honor your soul's and your heart's desires? The last one is the attachment to past experiences. You see, our ego may also be resistant to change because it is attached to your past experiences, memories, beliefs that shape the sense of yourself. So letting go of these attachments can be challenging because a lot of times we identified ourselves with those beliefs. And our ego may resist change to hold on to the familiar, even if it no longer serves you. So again, be aware of those triggers as they show up and know that this is to be expected. This is a battle between the ego and your higher self. And you have free will to choose which wolf are you going to feed. And your ego is powerful already as it is. It's been building its strength over so many years. It's been with you very long. Now your higher self is the one that quietly was suppressed underneath that ego and you're finally giving it its voice. And you're seeing what can be available to you if you honor it, if you continue on the path to honoring your higher self, all the possibilities, what you can create, what you can do, what you can be, what you can experience, the fullness of life and your self-expression, that vitality, that joy of life, that spark within you. That's what's out there available for grabs. It's yours for the taking. And so your ego knows that in order for you to step into that will require stepping out of your comfort zone. And it will try to keep you in that comfort zone. In the next session, you'll learn 3 paradigms of change and how to avoid them. I'm Malvina, your quantum success coach.